In the busy city of Accra, where wealth shines brighter than kindness, there lived a man named Kojo, billionaire's son, born into luxury, fame, and comfort. He had everything money could buy: mansions, cars, and power, but one thing he couldn't find was true love. Every woman who came into his life wanted only his money, his name, or his influence. None ever loved him for who he was. One night, sitting alone in his huge mansion, Kojo looked at his reflection and whispered, "Maybe no one can ever love me, only for my money." That night, he made a decision that would change his life forever. He would hide his true identity. He would live like a poor man and search for a woman whose heart was pure. The next morning, he wore simple clothes, took an old motorbike from the garage, and left his mansion quietly. He moved to a small neighborhood, rented a one-room apartment, and introduced himself simply as Kojo, a struggling young man looking for work. Days passed. He searched for odd jobs, cleaning, painting, and carrying goods at the market. People laughed at him, not knowing who he truly was. But one person saw him differently. A young woman named Joy. Joy worked at a small restaurant by the roadside. She was known for her smile, her kindness, and her strength. Even though her clothes were old and her hands were rough from work, her heart was beautiful. One evening, after a long day, Kojo came to the restaurant, hungry and tired. He had only a few coins. Joy served him food and noticed he was short on money. Instead of shouting at him like other workers would, she smiled gently and said, "It's okay, brother. You can pay later." Life is hard sometimes. Kojo looked up, surprised. No one had ever shown him such kindness before. He said softly, "Thank you, you're very kind." From that day, he began visiting the restaurant more often. Sometimes just to eat. Other times, just to see Joy's smile. Weeks turned into months. Kojo and Joy became friends. He helped her clean the tables, carry water, and sometimes walked her home when it was late. One evening, as they sat outside, watching the sunset, Joy said, "You know, Kojo, you don't talk much about your past." He smiled sadly. "Some stories are too heavy to tell." She looked at him with care. "Whatever it is, I pray things get better. Don't give up." Her words touched his heart deeply. For the first time in years, Kojo felt peace. But life wasn't easy for Joy. Her mother, Amma, was very sick and hospital bills kept rising. Joy worked extra shifts, skipped meals, and borrowed money, yet she never complained. When Kojo found out, he quietly used his secret wealth. He sent money to the hospital anonymously and made sure Amma received the best treatment. The next day, Joy rushed to Kojo, crying with happiness. "Kojo, you won't believe it. Someone paid for my mother's treatment. I don't even know who." Kojo smiled faintly. "That's wonderful, Joy. Maybe God sent an angel." Joy laughed softly. "If that's true, I pray I can thank that angel one day." Kojo looked at her, wanting to tell the truth, but he couldn't. Not yet. One night, as they walked home together, it began to rain. Joy slipped on the muddy path, and Kojo caught her quickly. Their eyes met. For a moment, everything stopped. Then Joy pulled away shyly and said, "Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Kojo." He smiled. "Always." That night, Kojo realized something. He was falling in love. Not with beauty, not with fame, but with the heart of a woman who had nothing, yet gave everything. But soon, trouble began. The restaurant owner where Joy worked was greedy. He found out Joy had been serving Kojo free meals sometimes and accused her of stealing. In front of everyone, he shouted, "You poor girl think you can feed beggars with my money? You're fired," Joy cried, trying to explain. "It wasn't like that, sir, please." He was hungry. But no one listened. Kojo tried to speak up. It was my fault. But Joy stopped him. Don't, Kojo. It's okay. She wiped her tears and walked away, her heart heavy, but her spirit still kind. That night, Kojo couldn't sleep. He realized Joy had lost her job because of him. He wanted to tell her everything who he really was, but he feared she might think he had been deceiving her. So he made a silent promise. He would fix everything. He would change her life, but in his own way. As the city slept, the rich man, disguised as a poor worker, stood at his window, looking at the stars. He whispered, "Joy, you don't know who I am, but one day you'll see why I came into your life." He didn't know that this was just the beginning. A journey of love, truth, and destiny that would test both their hearts. That night, Quame couldn't sleep. Joy had lost her job because of him. He looked at the sky and said softly, "I'll make it right. I promise." The next morning, he went back to his real world, his mansion, his office, and his wealthy father who knew nothing about his secret life. When Quame entered the grand office, his father, Mr. Mensah, looked up and said coldly, "You've been gone for weeks. Where have you been, son?" Quame hesitated. I was just taking time to understand life." His father frowned. "Understand life? You have everything already. Cars, power, money. What more do you need?" Quame sighed quietly. "Father, maybe what I need isn't bought with money." Mr. Mensah didn't understand. But Quame didn't care. His heart was full of one person's face, Joy. He made a decision. He would use his wealth not to show off, but to help her, secretly. Who fired that week, he sent people to search for a new restaurant for Joy's old boss, the greedy man Her. When he found out the man was about to lose his business due to debts, Quame quietly bought the restaurant under a different name. Then, he called Joy one morning. "Joy, are you still looking for work?" She sighed sadly. "Yes, Kojo, but nobody wants to hire someone with a bad record. They think I stole money." Quame smiled gently. "I know a small restaurant that's hiring. Maybe you can try there." Joy's face brightened. "Really? Oh, thank you, Kojo." She didn't know that the restaurant was now hers. When Joy arrived, the new manager handed her an envelope. "This is your offer letter and congratulations, Miss Joy." The new owner said you are to be made the supervisor. Joy blinked in shock. "Supervisor? But I just applied." The manager smiled. The owner said, "You deserve it." Tears filled Joy's eyes. She whispered, "God, thank you." Days passed. Joy worked hard and treated every worker with respect. The restaurant became more popular, and customers loved the peaceful feeling she brought. One afternoon, her mother Emma came to visit, now stronger and smiling again. "My daughter," she said softly, "good things happen to those who stay kind." Joy smiled. "Mama, I'm just thankful. Someone out there keeps helping me like an angel I can't see." Amma nodded. Maybe that angel isn't far away. Meanwhile, Quam's still living as Kojo often visited her after work. They talked, laughed, and shared food under the streetlights. But deep down, the truth was burning. Inside him, he wanted to tell her who he really was, but fear stopped him. What if she hates me for lying? He thought. What if she thinks I played with her feelings? So he kept quiet. One evening, as they walked home, Joy said, "Kojo, you're different. You don't talk like a poor man." He froze for a second. "What do you mean?" She smiled. "You use big words. Sometimes. And your hands. They don't look like they've done hard work all their life." Quame laughed nervously. "Maybe I just learned from watching people." Joy chuckled and didn't push. further. But inside, she began to wonder who really is Kojo. Days later, Mr. Mensah invited Kwame to a business party. Kwame didn't want to go, but his father insisted. At the party, surrounded by lights, luxury, and reporters, Mr. Mensah introduced his son proudly. "This is my son, Kwame Mensah, the future CEO of my company." The crowd cheered. Cameras flashed. But one person in that crowd stood. Frozen joy. She was there, serving drinks as part of the catering team. When her eyes met Kwame's, the glass tray in her hands almost fell. She whispered, trembling, "K. Kwame?" Kwame's heart stopped. The truth was out in the most painful way. After the party, Joy ran outside, tears falling down her cheeks. Kwame followed her, calling her name. "Joy! Please, wait." She turned, angry and heartbroken. "So you lied to me all this time? You made me believe you were poor? You watched me suffer while you lived like a king?" Kwame tried to explain, his voice shaking. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Joy. I just wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not for my money." Joy shook her head, crying. "You could have told me the truth. You let me think I was helping you when you were the one saving me behind my back." Kwame reached out. "Joy, please." She stepped back. "No, Kwame. You may have bought everything in life but trust. That can't be bought." And with that, she walked away. That night, Kwame sat alone in his mansion, surrounded by everything, yet feeling emptier than ever. He whispered to himself, "I only wanted love, and I lost it because I lied." Tears filled his eyes as he thought of Joy's face, the only person who had ever loved him with a pure heart. Sometimes, the truth doesn't destroy love, the timing does. Kwame had found true love, but by the time he revealed himself, it was too late. Or was it? Because fate had one more twist waiting for them, a test of forgiveness and destiny. Days passed after that painful night. Joy stopped answering Kwame's calls. She changed her workplace, moved to another part of the city, and tried to forget him. But forgetting true love isn't easy. Every night, she looked at the small wooden bracelet he had made for her when he was still Kojo. It reminded her of the simple, kind man she had fallen in love with, not that rich one she saw on TV. She whispered softly, "Was everything a lie, or was his love real?" Meanwhile, in his mansion, Kwame was breaking inside. He couldn't focus on his business. He ignored meetings, refused parties, and spent his nights driving alone through the same streets where he once walked with Joy. His father, Mr. Mensah, finally confronted him. "Kwame, you've lost focus. What happened to you?" Kwame sighed deeply. "I fell in love, father, with someone who taught me what real life feels like. And I lost her because I lied." For a moment, his father was silent. Then he said softly, "Son, maybe it's not too late. Money can build walls, but love, real love, can break them." Those words stayed in Kwame's heart. One afternoon, he heard something that made his blood run cold. Joy's friend Easy came running to the mansion gates. "Please, I need to see Mr. Kwame. It's about Joy." Kwame rushed out immediately. "What happened? Is she okay?" Essie was crying. "Joy's mother collapsed this morning. She needs an operation immediately, but Joy doesn't have the money. She's been begging everyone for help." Kwame didn't wait another second. He grabbed his car keys and drove faster than he ever had before. At the hospital, he found Joy sitting on the floor outside the emergency room, holding her mother's hand tightly. Her eyes were red from crying. When she saw him, she stood up quickly. "What are you doing here?" she asked coldly. Kwame took a step closer. "Please, Joy. Let me help. I'll pay for everything." She shook her head. I don't need your charity, Quame. I don't want your money. Quame's voice broke. It's not charity. It's love. I can't stand seeing you in pain. Please let me do this. Joy looked away, tears falling. Silently. Her mother's condition was getting worse, and her pride was fighting with her. Fear. Finally, she whispered, if you really want to help save her. Quame called the doctors and paid every single bill, not with his father's money, but from his own savings. He stayed there all night, sitting outside the room, praying silently. At dawn, the doctor came out, smiling. Your mother is safe now. She'll recover soon. Joy broke down in tears. She looked at Quame through blurred eyes and whispered, thank you. He smiled gently. I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because I care. Days later, when Amma was discharged, she asked to speak with Quame privately. My daughter told me everything, she said softly. You lied, yes, but you also showed her real love. Don't give up on her, son. The heart that truly loves will always forgive, even if it takes time. Quame nodded slowly, hope returning to his eyes. Weeks passed. Joy avoided him, but deep inside, she couldn't forget what he did for her. Mother. One evening, she walked near the park where she and Kojo used to sit and watch sunsets. To her surprise, she saw someone there holding a small box in his hand. It was Quame. When he saw her, he stood up quietly and said, I wasn't sure you'd come, but I hoped. Joy crossed her arms. Why are you here, Quame? He looked into her eyes and spoke with a trembling voice. Because I want to say everything I should have said long ago. Quame continued, when I first met you, I was tired of lies, tired of fake love. So I became someone else. I didn't mean to trick you. I just wanted to see if love could exist without wealth. But in the end, I learned something love built on lies cannot stand. I hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself for that. He opened the box slowly. Inside was the same wooden bracelet, repaired and shining. This was the first thing you gave me, he said softly. It broke when we fought. I fixed it because I want to fix us too. Tears filled Joy's eyes. She remembered their laughter, the rainy nights, the meals they shared. Her voice trembled. Quame, I don't know if I can trust you again. He nodded slowly. I understand. I'll wait, even if it takes forever. He began to walk away quietly. But then Joy called out, Quame. He stopped. She stepped closer, her voice shaking. You lied to me, but you also stood by me when no one else did. You saved my mother. You could have walked away, but you stayed. A single tear rolled down her cheek as she whispered, I don't know how to stop loving you. Quame turned, eyes wide with emotion. He walked toward her, slowly, afraid it was a dream. Then, for the first time in months, Joy smiled through her tears. And as the sun began to set, she whispered, let's start again, but this time, no secrets. Quame held her hand gently and said, no lies, just love. Months later, they got married, not in a fancy hotel, but in a small garden filled with laughter and friends. Quame's father, once proud and strict, smiled with joy as he saw his son finally happy. Joy's mother, healthy and glowing, blessed them both. And as they danced under the stars, Quame whispered to Joy, you found me when I was lost, and you taught me that the richest man is the one who loves truly. In a world where money hides truth, real love is the only wealth that never fades. Forgiveness heals deeper than gold, and honesty builds stronger than diamonds. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sankofa Tale, where every story carries a lesson of love, pain, and hope.